often I talk to people who are very confused about finding their tattoo or art styles. It's very common and it can actually happen to the most skilled of artists. And although there can be almost a feeling of urgency to do it, and it can feel very overwhelming, from my experience I can tell you that it's something that comes through conscious effort, but also very naturally. And the good news is that the most conscious effort you put in, the more naturally that it will come to you. In this video, I'll try to show you some of the methods that helped me find my own art style, that today I consider to be very characteristic to me. Just keep in mind that an art style is something that never stops developing, and I feel like the work that I have from last year is already very different from the work that I'm producing this year. This video is only to serve as a first step or a little push towards a lifelong journey. My first tip would be to actually look back and see what you enjoyed during your childhood. I still have some of my favorite books lying around the house. I always enjoyed everything magical and fantastical, and sometimes creepy as well. My absolute favorite book was The Witch's Handbook by Malcolm Bird. Looking back at it, I can already see why I was so obsessed. The little witches' houses, the gardens, the witches themselves who were so empowered and knew exactly who they were and what they wanted. And the cute illustrations were also a highlight. The second thing that I would do when looking for my art style would be to find other artists and art movements that inspire me. I actually never went to art school, so my art history knowledge is very limited. In any case, I was still able to find these artists through internet searches and old books at my local bookstore. There are many artists that influenced my work, but I feel like there are three from which I was able to learn from the most. The first is Alphonse Mucha. I'm obsessed with Art Nouveau. The colors, the women, the florals, it all reads as so ethereal to me. From him, I feel like I gather a lot of the relationship between the feminine and the botanical that is present in my work. I also really enjoy Aubrey Beardsley, with all the contrast and precise yet flowing lines. I love the way women are depicted, not always romanticized and beautiful, the way you'd find with Mucha. Some of them could very easily fit the archetype of the old hag, and to me, that makes them even more interesting. From him, I think I definitely get the sharp contrasts and lines that you find in my work. The third is Anita Magsaysay, which is an artist from the Philippines, which sadly is not as known as the other two. I absolutely love her portrayal of what seems to be mundane scenes, the day-to-day life of Philippine women, little moments captured on canvas. Both the colors and the themes remind me so much of my childhood in Brazil. My next tip is to just go out into the real world and look for places that inspire you. Once you're there, take pictures and videos of anything that you find interesting. In my case, nature is always my happy place and my biggest inspiration. I look for little nooks and crannies, funny shaped trees, mushrooms, and flowers. Anything at all that sparks my interest. For you, it could be a museum, a historical site, a cute building, or even your own house, just anything that sparks your interest. The next step is putting everything together. Once I had found images for all of these things that are so near and dear to my heart, I compiled all of them and started to look for patterns. Some things were easy to recognize. Florals, animals, female figures, these things were clear from the start. But I also started to notice subtle elements, like the way that I like lines being drawn, clear and precise. I noticed how much I like big chunks of the drawing being filled out, to create contrast and impact. Then I started to notice a feeling or a mood that all of these images brought me, and started to think of adjectives that could fit them. Magical, ethereal, earthy, natural, essential. My last tip is to just play to your strengths, at least while your skills are still developing. For some reason, for me in the beginning, shading was really hard, both on paper and on skin. So I just focused on practicing how to do really clear lines. If for now you can only draw minimal or essential figures, then do that. If your brain is very analytical and you need clear processes and methods in your drawing, then do that. It's very easy to find an amazing artist on Instagram that you love and try to emulate their style. But at the end of the day, you'd just be playing a role, and that would take way too much mental capacity in the long run. So just focus on being yourself and drawing in the most comfortable way possible, and the rest will just come naturally to you. Throughout this whole process, I always try to find the message behind what I was seeing, behind all of these images. And essentially, I found it to be one's connection to what is unseen, not always clear to the passerby, but clear as day to the one who opens their hearts to it. The bond between women and nature, between the body and the earth, the mind and the universe. That's what I was seeing, and that's what I felt that I needed to convey. I hope that this video was helpful to you, or at least a little bit fun to watch. I would love to hear in the comments what inspires you, and if you want to support my journey on YouTube, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!